Winston Cup champion Dale Earnhardt. In the second row is four-time late model sportsman champion Jack Ingram. And alongside in row number 2, the defending late model sportsman champion Sam Ard. ESPN visits the famous Darlington International Raceway for the Dixie Cup 200 for NASCAR late model sportsmen. A beautiful day in Darlington, South Carolina, as 36 cars get set to go in the Dixie Cup 200. The weather, 82 degrees. We have a gentle southerly breeze of about 10 miles an hour. Skies are partly sunny. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Bob Jenkins. Welcome to Darlington International Raceway. Along with me today, Benny Parsons, a 1973 Winston Cup champion and a winner of the Atlanta Grand National race earlier this year. And Benny, it looks like it's Grand National versus Sportsman drivers in the race today.
It really does, Bob. The front row is shared by Grand National competitors Ron Bouchard and Dale Earnhardt, while on the second row we have Jack Ingram and Sam Ard. There's no doubt that Bouchard and Earnhardt are going to have an advantage, Bob, having run Darlington so many times before in Grand National cars. But Ingram and Ard, I think, will negate that advantage by the fact that they run the regular circuit, the sportsman circuit, each and every week. They run 30, 40 times a year. And their expertise with these 500-pound lighter cars, I think, is going to be an advantage.
Well, the history of this track goes back to 1949. It's a tough one. Is it as tough as they say it is, Benny?
All the promotion says Darlington is a track too tough to tame. I believe it is.
And down in the pit area will be Dick Berggren, who'll be covering the activity there for us. Let's go to Dick right now.
Look forward to seeing a very competitive race here. Less than 8/1000th of a second separate the top 3 cars here. That is less time than most stopwatches are even capable of recording. Add to that the fact that the late model sportsman drivers get very, very pumped up about running here. This is, in fact, the springboard to Grand National racing, and everybody in one of these late model sportsman cars would like to participate in the big league.
And we look forward to your reports, Dick, during this 147-lap race. The Dixie Cup 200 brought to you by world-famous Bardol. Get Bardol, the engine saver. And by Nissan, builders of high-mileage, high-quality cars and trucks for 50 years, available at your Datsun dealer. And by Skull Bandits, for tobacco pleasure without lighting up. It's a pouch instead of a puff. We'll be back with the starting lineup for today's race in just a moment. Back at Darlington, South Carolina, and a closer examination of this historic racetrack. It's 1 3/8 miles in length. It's paved, of course. The front stretch is 1,228 feet long, 70 feet wide. The back stretch is 1,229 feet long and also 70 feet wide. Turns 1 and 2 are banked at 23 degrees. They are 100 feet wide with a 30-foot groove and 1,264 feet in length. And turns 3 and 4 are 25 degrees in bank, 160 feet wide, 1,979 feet long. The pit road is 1,055 feet long. Well, Benny Parsons has driven this track many times, and we were with him to take a closer examination of exactly where you run at Darlington International Raceway.
In all the promotional material preceding the Trans-South 500, they kept calling it Darlington, the racetrack too tough to tame. There's a lot of truth to that, because I think maybe this racetrack is too tough to tame. You can go down in turn 1 or turn 3 1,000 times, but yet that 1,001st time, it'll bite you. It'll just reach out and grab you, suck you in the fence, and when they ask you why, you have no idea. I tell you what, let's take a ride around the racetrack, and we'll just show you how tough it really is. We're going down the front straightaway. You know, it looks wide. It looks like it's very comfortable. But at 170 miles an hour, it really doesn't take long to get down to turn 1. We're almost to turn 1. Now we start backing off the throttle. We hit the brakes. We really hit them hard. We got to check the car, because when we get down in here, we can't be running over about 140, 150 miles an hour. We want the left front to touch the apron. It'll throw the car back up right in the middle of the racetrack, almost in the middle. Then back on the throttle. You start bringing the car down the hill, down the hill. All right, now we're in the groove. We're really in the groove. We want to be right almost touching the apron as we come off here. Now we want to start the car going back out towards turn 2, because the natural tendency is for the car to go back out there. Now, down the back straightaway, again, it looks like a long ways, but really at 160, 70, 80 miles an hour, it doesn't take long. We're going now almost to turn 3. We back off the gas. We hit the brakes. Now we cut across this corner. We cut across it, and again, we want to touch the apron with the left front tire. That'll kick the car back up. Now here, we want to go higher than we did it down in turns 1 and 2. Up high, almost to the retaining wall. And you say, boy, what a lovely corner. But all of a sudden, folks, the racetrack goes dead left, and you got to know when to turn. You got to start turning and bringing it funnels down to one place. You got to be in this place if you're going to get around Darlington. And then down the front straightaway, and the procedure starts all over again, and it's the same thing. You got to do exactly the same thing time after time.
And this, folks, is what's so tough. Seeing the start-finish line and somebody in that box waving the checkered flag.
Benny and I will be discussing this racetrack as we go ahead with this race. The cars are on the track. We'll review the 36 starters in just a moment as ESPN covers the Dixie Cup 200. Let's review the starting lineup for the 5th annual Dixie Cup 200. On the front row, car 47, Ron Bouchard. Outside, Dale Earnhardt in 7. Second row, Jack Ingram in number 11 and Sam Ard in 00. In the third row, Lake Speed in 83, Jeff Bodine in 17. The fourth row, car number 10, L.D. Ottinger, and 22, Bobby Allison. In the fifth row, car number 21, driven by Larry Pearson. Outside, car number 1, driven by Morgan Shepherd. In the sixth row, car number 46, former Darlington Dash champion Larry Hoopaw, and car number 6, driven by Tommy Houston. In the seventh row, the Jarrett brothers, Dale in number 32 inside, and Glenn in 24 outside. The eighth row, car 45, Charlie Luck, and number 12, Tommy Ellis. Row number 9, Kirk Bryant in 00, and Benny Curley in number 71. In the 10th row, Bosco Lowe in number 70, and Ronnie Silver in number 14. The 11th row, car number 29, driven by Joe Thurman, and 63, Jeff Hensley. In the 12th row, Glenn Sears in car number 61, and Steve Jarvis in 87. In the 13th row, Junior Nidecken in car number 76, and Ed Barrier in number 60. And in the 14th row, Mitchell Clark in car number 39, along with William Hogan in car number 73. The 15th row, Carl Williford in number 48 and John Linville in 62. The 16th row is car number 82, driven by Larry Walker, and 97, Harry Lee Hill. Row number 17, Jimmy Hensley in car number 90 and Bob Shreves in 91. In the 18th row, car number 09, Francis Affleck, and number 31, Ed Bogus. Those are your 36 starters for this 147-lap race. And there are the Jarrett brothers. They're starting side by side here this afternoon. They, of course, are the sons of former Grand National champion Ned Jarrett.
Exactly right. And, you know, they're unlike brothers when you look at them up close. The physical resemblance is not close at all. And on the racetrack, one of them's got a Pontiac, one of them's got a Ford. So, again, no resemblance at all between the brothers.
They're in the 7th row for today's race. Dale from Conover, North Carolina, in car number 32. His brother alongside him. One car into the pits already, made a stop through and is now pulling back out onto the track. The number 29 car, driven by Joe Thurman. There's the number 24, driven by Glenn Jarrett from Hickory, North Carolina. Cars are now in turn number 2, headed down the backstretch. Benny, talking again about this racetrack and the lap that you led us around just a few minutes ago. The most important thing, I think, is the fact that the turns and the straightaways are 100 or 170 feet wide, but only 30 of that is an area that you run in.
Exactly right. The groove is very, very narrow. The front straightaway is so wide that you can get 10 cars abreast down the front straightaway. But yet when you get in turn 1, you got to funnel it down to 30 feet of racetrack. Sure, 2 cars could go through there, Bob, side by side at 100 miles an hour, but at 150 or 60, it's impossible.
One of the drivers we'll be looking for is the number 12 car, driven by Tommy Ellis. He's a veteran of this type of competition, but he has a regular Grand National ride this year and is kind of dividing his time between both of them. The pace car pulls into the pit area. The 36 cars in the Dixie Cup 200 are being led down by Ron Bouchard and Dale Earnhardt. The green flag waves and the race is on. Definitely 2 abreast through turn turns 1 and 2 as Bouchard and Earnhardt ran through there side by side, but they get strung out now as they head down the backstretch, and it is Ron Bouchard leading at the moment, but it is Dale Earnhardt moving to the inside, going into turn number 3 and taking the lead momentarily. We'll see how they stack up as they complete lap number 1. Here they come. Almost a dead heat through there, but Dale Earnhardt did have the slight advantage over Ron Bouchard, so Earnhardt will be scored as the leader of lap number 1. A 147-lap race. Bouchard running in second position, and Lake Speed is third. Sam Ard is running in fourth position, and in fifth is Jack Ingram as they're in turn number 3 on lap 2.
Lake Speed made a very, very good move on that first lap and moved up to third place, and has gained on Earnhardt and Bouchard. He's right behind them. He's looking at second place right now.
And here comes Bouchard diving to the inside as they go into turn number 1, but Dale Earnhardt slams the door, and Ron Bouchard falls back into second position. That's Lake Speed. They're in car number 83 that Benny was talking about a few minutes ago, and now Lake Speed is looking to the inside. Oh, they're going to go through there 3 abreast into turn number 3. And Lake Speed picks up the position over Ron Bouchard. Lake Speed is in second, chasing Dale Earnhardt. Off of turn number 4 once again, a slow car in front of them moving to the inside, well down onto the apron of the racetrack. It is still Dale Earnhardt leading the race with Lake Speed running second, and right behind is Ron Bouchard. Sam Ard is still running fourth, Jack Ingram is fifth, and Jeff Bodine is sixth at this point.
Lake Speed is really getting down that straightaway. Boy, is he going down the straightaway. He's underneath Earnhardt going in turn 3. He takes the lead going in turn 3. Now Earnhardt's going to try him back on the low side. Oh, this is going to be interesting. Now Earnhardt backs off a little bit, Bob.
And gives the lead to Lake Speed off of turn number 4, completing another lap. This is the completion of lap number 4. It is Lake Speed in car number 83. This Pontiac showing the way. Lake Speed has only started one late model Sportsman race this year. That was the first of 1984 on the high banks of the Daytona International Raceway. And Lake Speed finished a close second in that race. Here he is leading at Darlington International Raceway in South Carolina. And there is Morgan Shepherd in car number 1 pulling into the pit area. And from every indication, Morgan is going to be out of the race.
It looks like it. You don't pull back there unless you get some pretty turmoil.
On the racetrack, they negotiate the high banks in turns number 1 and 2. We're still running in the same order, although Sam Ard in position number 4 now begins to move up and challenge third place runner Dale Earnhardt as we focus in on the first 2 positions. Lake Speed followed by Ron Bouchard. Bouchard, the pole sitter, qualifying at an average speed of 151.815 miles an hour. That is definitely good enough to get him into the Grand National field. Remember, these are late model Sportsman cars that we're watching here this afternoon. Bobby Allison in car number 22, another one of those Grand National drivers who is competing here this afternoon. Running right ahead of him on the backstretch is Jeff Bodine, and running right behind Bobby Allison at green and white car is Jack Ingram, the 4-time late model Sportsman champion.
Jack Ingram is coming off 2 wins. Oh, spin coming off turn 4.
We have a car spinning and hitting the inside wall on the turn side 4 of the start-finish line. That is car number 82, and the driver of that car is Larry Walker from Trinity, North Carolina. He spun coming off of the 4th turn, went to the inside. You can see him unstrapping the netting, and it looks like he is in good shape, but the yellow is out, and the cars will be slowed for the next few laps. We replay the spin coming off of turn 4.
Well, you know, we're probably going to see lots of action over there because a lot of these fellows are inexperienced, and that is a tough corner, one of the toughest. As I said at the beginning of the show, you come off the corner, and you think you're in a beautiful corner, but all of a sudden it just goes away from you. He really didn't hit the wall that hard, Bob.
No, he just kind of bumped it there with the left rear of the race car, and you can see he is out of it, so he is in pretty good shape. Let's go down to Dick Berggren, who is with Morgan Shepherd, one of the early retirees from competition.
Morgan, it was a short afternoon for you.
Yeah, we had engine trouble. We knew it before the race. We had a cracked cylinder head, and we didn't have another engine to go back in the car.
What kind of condition is the Speedway in, Morgan?
It's in real good shape. I've been doing most of my running in a Grand National car, and the track is, you know, you run high, low, but that don't give you a whole lot of room here because it's just 2 lanes wide.
Morgan Shepherd's day is over very early today.
And we are under caution at Darlington International Raceway because of a spin coming off of turn number 4 involving Larry Walker. There are the standings. Lake Speed, Ron Bouchard, Sam Ard, Dale Earnhardt, and Jeff Bodine. The top 5 will be racing in a minute. Under caution at Darlington International Raceway because of a spin off turn number 4 involving Larry Walker. His car is being taken off the racetrack. Well, these cars are very, very similar to the Grand National cars, and Dick Berggren had an opportunity to take a closer examination.
The names Dale Earnhardt, Bobby Allison, Ron Bouchard, and Jeff Bodine are very familiar to viewers of Grand National racing, but they're equally familiar to fans of NASCAR's late model sportsman racing too. Late model sportsman engines are very similar to Grand National engines, and in fact, in many circumstances, they're even built by the same people. There are some differences, however. Many of the competitors in this league use a smaller engine to take advantage of a weight break. The cars can be lighter. Boy, do they twist them, as much as 8,000 RPM. And keeping these engines together is more of a difficult task than keeping a Grand National engine together, which isn't turned quite as tightly. The Grand National cars must use a very recent body design. Late model sportsman cars, on the other hand, are prohibited from using the latest in design technology. But they are allowed these sleek body designs. This is a 1975 Omega, and they really slice through the wind with the late model sportsman cars. Although there are differences between the late model sportsman and the Grand National cars that are practicing behind us now, the similarities outweigh the differences. These cars flat fly out here at Darlington Speedway, and they've got plenty of excitement to tag along with them.
Well, Benny, the engine situation is a very interesting one. A lot of these drivers are using 311 engines, while some others are using 358s, and the 311s get a much bigger jump coming off of a straightaway, although they rev at a higher RPM, and that's going to be an interesting thing that we'll watch for as the race progresses here this afternoon. Now the cars are coming down the main straightaway and get the green flag.
The thing on the 311 is if there's a weight advantage if you run a 311. Yes, Ed Berry has had a problem on a restart, and I don't know if he's going to make any pits or not. The car's going very slowly.
Well, he missed the entrance to the pit area, and he's still on the main straightaway, and I don't believe taking off the track he might, though. We'll watch the situation as the racing continues on the track. It is Lake Speed showing the lead, now opening up about an 8 or 10 car length advantage over the second place driver. They come down off of turn number 4 onto the relatively flat straightaway. In second position is Sam Ard, who got a nice jump at the drop of the green flag on the restart. Last year's late model sportsman champion Sam Ard in car number 00 has moved into second place, with Ron Bouchard now third. Off of the second turn down the backstretch, Ron Bouchard looking to the inside, and now Sam Ard looks like he might want to challenge Lake Speed for the lead. But as they go into turn number 3, they go into single file formation once again, and Lake Speed holds on to that first place.
Looks like Sam Ard's getting his engines at the same place Lake Speed is, because he really went down that straightaway as well.
They move 2 abreast down the straightaway as Bobby Allison goes to the inside to pass Jeff Bodine and pick up the spot. Bobby Allison moving into 5th position. There are the first 4, and Bobby Allison running right behind this group of cars. Lake Speed, Sam Ard, now Ard once again on the inside going into turn number 3, and they bump. And Lake Speed bumps the wall and miraculously saves the car. Now he spins to the inside. Well, you just don't get bumped like that and hit the wall without losing control. I thought Lake was going to be able to gather it in, but could not. And it just proves what you said earlier there in turn number 3. It is single file and single file only.
And you got to remember, see the tire mark. We saw the tire mark on the side of his car. And Lake Speed really got a tough break when the caution flag did not fall.
That's right. The car did not stop, essentially, and so the green remains out. Lake Speed, who was leading less than half a lap ago, is now way back in the field after having made contact with Sam Ard and bumped the outside wall and then spinning to the inside. So that gives the lead now to Sam Ard, followed by Ron Bouchard, then Dale Earnhardt. Bobby Allison is running 4th, and 5th place belongs to Jeff Bodine. Then in 6th is Jack Ingram in car number 11. Well, we'll wait and see if Lake Speed can move up through the field now and recapture some of those positions that he lost. This is the replay of what happened there in turn number 3.
Well, they just simply tried to go in the corner two abreast, and it does not happen. You can't do it. Particularly at this point in the race. You can later on, but you can't at this point in the race. And they almost got tagged by Dale Earnhardt as he come back across the racetrack.
And there is Lake Speed, who has moved into the pit area. You can see the damage there on the left side of the car, the contact that was made with Sam Ard as they went into turn number 3. The pit stop is already almost 18 seconds long now as the work continues. They're changing tires on that car. Lake spun to the inside, although he did keep going.
The damage, excuse me, Bob, but the damage that he's done has been on the right side of the car. When he went up, he grazed the wall, and he's hit it with the right side. He's probably knocked the front end out of the line. Dick Bergen is in the pits with, I think, maybe the crew chief. Dick?
Yeah, Lake Speed is in here. They've got the right side of the car jacked up. They've changed so far the right front tire. Now they're working on the wedge bolt on the right rear corner. The car is definitely knocked out of alignment, and it's really a shame. Lake Speed was very, very up for this event. This is a car that he built himself. The engine is basically built out of hand-me-down Grand National parts. So this is not what you call your high-dollar race team. It's more of a backyard operation, and he was really fired up, thought he could win this thing.
Everybody was fired up, Dick. I talked to the sponsor, the fellow who owns Bullfrog, the sponsor down there, and he was ready to go to Victory Lane. You know, he's been sponsoring the car for about 2 years and hasn't been to Victory Lane yet. And Darlington would be a nice place to start.
This division has made so many big strides in the last 2 or 3 years. It was reorganized about 3 years ago, and the tracks the drivers compete on was narrowed geographically. Another spin, this one up in turn number 2. And the car involved is number 45, driven by Charlie Luck. That's a yellow and green car. Charlie Luck from Mannequin, Virginia. He is a former student of a military academy and sneaks away, or did sneak away on the weekends while he was attending that academy to do some racing. Now he's full-time. Charlie Luck, car number 45. The Luck Stone Pontiac, and we have a replay here. This is the situation up in turn 2.
Well, it looks like he just probably, it looks like that he probably put the left side on the apron just a little bit too much, and when he went down and hit the apron, it threw the car around and spun him, although there could be other circumstances.
Now the yellow is out once again as Charlie pulls into the pit area, as his crew will examine the damage that was done to the car. There's a good look at young Charlie Luck.
I tell you what, in the shot right behind him, there's a car. We can see the damage to the front end of that car right behind him. It's very possible that car ran the back of Charlie Luck.
Very possible. That's the number 71 car, driven by Benny Curley from Heidenite, North Carolina. Yellow is out because of the spin involving Charlie Luck, and there is the number 71 car of Curley moving back out onto the racetrack. So our second yellow of the afternoon. We are 20 laps into this 147-lap race. There's the number 87 car. Steve Jarvis moving very slowly on the racetrack, and Lake Speed is also in for another pit stop. And ESPN and the National Association of Stock Car Auto Racing present a track fact.
In an effort to save energy and also to save some backs, the tires that are going to be balanced here at Darlington are ramped up to the tire balancing machine. Each one of these tires with its wheel and inner liner weighs about 70 pounds, and they're going to have to balance about 300 of them before the weekend's event is over in the late model Sportsman division alone.
As we get back now to the Dixie Cup 253 laps have been completed, and car number 00, Sam Ard, continues to run on the lead. Bobby Allison is now moved into second position in car number 22. Jeff Bodine in car number 15 is third, and Ronnie Bouchard now in car number 47 has dropped back to fourth position. Also, if you're scoring at home, Dale Earnhardt in car number 7, spinning out in turn number 3. He has damaged the left side of his car, so he is out of action, but Bob Jenkins and Denny Parson on top of the action. Let's now get back to the race.
We are back at Darlington, and a crash has occurred involving two cars. There's the contact in turn number 2. Now, involved in this crash were Glenn Jarrett in car number 24 and John Linville. Once again, Linville was a driver who spun originally and then was T-boned by Jarrett. There is John climbing out of the car. However, He will display a bit of a limp here, and he was taken to the infield hospital. Nothing real serious, but Benny, as you pointed out, ankle and leg injuries are most common in this type of racing.
They're very common because there isn't much room around where your feet go, and the clutch and brake pedals doesn't have any rubber on them. So when you hit something very hard, your feet start flying around in there when it hits those clutch and brake pedals. Hurts so bad.
Well, the cars that are out of competition at this point, Jimmy Hensley in number 90, Morgan Shepherd in number 1, also Larry Walker, Ed Barrier, Steve Jarvis, Dale Earnhardt, Ed Bogus, and Joe Thurman. Now, all of the leaders, along with John Linville and Glenn Jarrett, the 2 drivers involved in that crash. Now, all of the leaders have come in for pit stops during this caution period, so the standings are shaken up somewhat. And we will go down to Dick Berggren for an explanation of some of the activity that occurred during the pit stops. Dick?
We've had a lot of action down here so far. Sam Ard waited very, very late in the caution, came in and took on left side tires, went out, drove around for a couple of laps, and then decided, why not? He came back in again and put on right side tires. So he's got 2 fresh ones and a fresh load of fuel, too. Bouchard had pitted very early under the caution flag. He took on no tires, but his crew chief says everybody is going to have to come in for at least one more stop.
Thank you, Dick. 14 cars are in the lead lap at this point with 64 laps completed. The car right behind the pace car is Larry Pearson, number 21. Larry from Spartanburg, South Carolina. This is his very first race on this racetrack. We mentioned earlier how David Pearson has won more races than any other. Now Larry moves to the inside and is going to be making a pit stop, along with Charlie Luck right ahead of Pearson, moving into his pit. And now here is Larry coming to a stop.
And Ron Bouchard is coming back. Don't quite understand what this is all about.
Bouchard was one of the early leaders and battled for a long time up front with Sam Ard and Bobby Allison. Quick pit stop for Larry Pearson. He is back in competition. There is Ron Bouchard, who's kind of blocked here and moves out of the pit area very slowly. Bouchard, the number 47 car.
I don't understand why they would do that unless they have aspirations going the rest of the way, but they can't possibly run 80 laps, can they?
Well, we'll find out. The light on the pace car is out, and we're going to go green here in just a second. The traditional 2 abreast restart here in NASCAR competition. Bobby Allison is really the driver in the best shape at this point. He is the second one in line there. There he is in number 22. He is the second car in line, and I think we should watch him step on the accelerator here in turn number 4 as the green is going to be displayed. But Bouchard and Ard and everybody else are in the back of the pack, so they're going to be charging up front. 14 lead changes in this race already, and we're just about halfway.
This is going to be a pretty exciting restart because Lake Speed is on the inside of Tommy Houston. Tommy Houston wants some of that glory of leading this race at Darlington. Lake Speed wants one of those laps down he's behind, so it's going to be pretty interesting.
All right, the green comes out. Tommy Houston in car number 6 is the leader, but Lake Speed has moved out ahead of him. Remember, Lake is a lap down, so he is trying to make up at least one of the laps he is down. Bobby Allison and Houston battling behind Lake Speed, and Houston moves to the inside trying to block the progress of Bobby Allison, and successfully does so, at least for this particular lap, as Allison now moves to the inside coming into turn number 4, and Bobby Allison moves into the lead. Tommy Houston falling back into second spot now as both of these cars are running behind Lake Speed and number 83. Lake, an early leader here, but having trouble with the fence up in turn number 3, and has made numerous pit stops trying to get the bodywork away from the tires. Now Bobby Allison passes Lake, so Lake falls back in, loses the lap that he had made up just a few seconds ago. Now the front straightaway once again. Bobby Allison, Tommy Houston running in second position. Third is L.D. Ottinger in car number 10. Running in fourth place is Larry Hoopaw, number 46. And fifth is Jeff Bodine in car number 15. And those 5 cars are on the same straightaway here, separated by only a couple of seconds.
There's races every place. I can't even keep up with all the races going on right now.
Well, there, Jack Ingram and Ron Bouchard are going at it. These two guys have led this race and pitted during the most recent caution period. Started from the back and now are moving up quickly through the traffic. Bouchard in number 47, Jack Ingram in number 11.
Bouchard's caught Sam Ard behind the slow car on this restart and got by him, and now he's by Ingram. You know, Jack, as I mentioned early in the telecast, he has won the last 2 Sportsman races, so he's on a roll in that Skoal advantage. Ron Bouchard's getting all he wants today.
Well, this race last year, there was only one late model Sportsman race here at Darlington last year, and it was won by Neil Bonnet. He's not competing here today. Down the straightaway, it's Ron Bouchard, Jack Ingram, and Sam Ard. Ard in the 3rd car there, actually the 4th car in this line, as Ron Bouchard now moves to the inside and passes the back marker as they go down the backstretch. Bouchard, Ingram, and Ard.
Oh, trouble up turn 4.
Car spinning in turn number 4, right in the middle of the racetrack, making contact with the wall. That is number 10, LD Otcher, who was running in 2nd position. LD Otcher from Tennessee. That is a tough break.
Tough break for LD. He was used to run all these events. And was gone for a couple of years. Was back in a good car, and I was looking forward to seeing a good day from LD.
That's the Schlitz Pontiac. In the races so far this year in late model Sportsman competition, LD finished 8th at Daytona, did not compete at Richmond, was 4th at Rockingham, 21st at the Hickory Speedway, and 13th at Martinsville in the most recent late model Sportsman race. He was the champion of this division in 1975 and 1976, but he has spun and made some contact with the outside wall in turn number 3 here at Darlington.
Heavy damage there, Bob, and the crew has told him to take it behind the wall. There's no use trying to repair the car. It's all over.
You know, one thing that has been very impressive today, we've seen a lot of spins. This one in the middle of the racetrack, but it's amazing that the other drivers have been able to avoid the trouble in front of them. I think it speaks well for these late model Sportsman competitors.
It really does, because the thing is when these cars spin, when you're behind them, you're almost in a blind spot. The racetrack being banked as it is, you really can't see that well. There LD spins. Now, what's this car behind? That's Hoopaw. Larry Hoopaw. He
Good
cuts
job.
Underneath it.
Good job at
Across
driving,
the apron, and does a great job.
Yep, he sure does. Well, let's go down to Dick Berggren in the pit area. Dick?
Well, I'm in LD Ottinger's pit, and they are surely unhappy here. He is really hot, very disappointed to be out of this race. They thought they were really going to do something here this afternoon. Ottinger, as you mentioned, Benny, is a former Sportsman champion who finally had to give it up. He just said that he had spent so much time on the road, going from race to race to race, that he was simply physically, mentally exhausted. He took some time off, and now he's back at it. He started a plan this year that was only going to take him to a few races, but they've been so successful so far in the 1984 season, he's going for the championship.
He is 8th in the point standings right now in late model Sportsman competition. So the crew works on the car, and the drivers that are on the track are under caution. We'll be back with more action in the Dixie Cup 200 from Darlington International Raceway.
Now let's get back to the Dixie Cup 200 with 88 laps completed, and Ronnie Bouchard now is on the lead in car number 00. Sam Ard is running 2nd. Bodine currently in 3rd position, and Bob Jenkins, Benny Parsons to pick up the action of the Dixie Cup 200 Auto Racing 84 on ESPN.
It's PN Speed Week. Join us for a review of the activity in motorsports the previous week and a preview of what's coming up the following week. It's every Thursday evening at 7:30 p.m. Larry Nuber and I co-host the show. We hope you'll join us. It's brand new on ESPN Speed Week, Thursdays at 7:30. Here are the top 10 in the Dixie Cup 200 at Darlington International Raceway. The leader is Ron Bouchard. We are under caution. Sam Ard is 2nd, Jeff Bodine 3rd, Jack Ingram 4th, and Larry Pearson is 5th. In 6th position is Dale Jarrett, car number 32. 7th is Tommy Ellis. 8th is Kirk Bryant. 9 is Wayne Nidecken, and 10th is Ronnie Silver in car number 14. 88 laps out of 147 have been completed. Boy, what a race so far, and there are still about 6 or 8 drivers very capable of winning. Here is one of them, Bobby Allison, in the number 22 Miller High Life Oldsmobile. Now he is in for the 2nd time in just a couple of laps here. They are changing rubber on the left side of the car at this point. Bobby waiting patiently. We heard from his crew chief, Gary Nelson, a few minutes ago saying that he would have to make at least one more pit stop, and this is it. So apparently now he will be able to go the distance because he does have enough fuel, and there is brand new rubber on the race car. Bobby Allison pulling back out in competition. The late model Sportsman division, this is the 6th race of the year, and the leader in points is Sam Ard with 823. Jack Ingram is second with 746. Larry Pearson is third, Dale Jarrett fourth, and Tommy Houston fifth in the point standings after 5 races.
Looks like we're going to get a go this time, Bob. The pace car looks like he's going to pull in, and we're going to get back to racing.
Bouchard, Ard, Jeff Bodine, and Jack Ingram. There is Ron Bouchard, the pole sitter in this race in the Doobie Racing Pontiac, qualified at 151.815 miles an hour. And they come down off the banking in turn number 4 and get the green flag. So here we go once again. Sam Ard in number 00, following closely Ron Bouchard off of turn number 2. We'll see if Sam makes a move on the backstretch. He is moving to the inside of Ron Bouchard, and he passes Bouchard. Sam Ard is in the lead. Bouchard back to second place. There's a good close-up of that car, number 00. Off of turn number 4, Bouchard still running second. Now Jeff Bodine has moved up to third position. Sam Ard in the Thomas Brothers Oldsmobile. He qualified at 151.413 miles an hour. The Grand National drivers also compete here at this racetrack, and that is a speed that would put a lot of drivers comfortably in the Grand National field. Bodine moves to the inside and passes Ron Bouchard, and Jeff Bodine now moves into second as Sam Ard continues to hold the lead.
Sam Ard has been working extremely well all day. I don't really know what to think about Jeff Bodine. If he can't compete with Sam Ard, Sam just might drive away from him. He did once before in the caution flag came out. He could again. He has the potential. He's not going anyplace. Jeff Bodine has closed up on him, actually.
That's right. Jeff Bodine is solidly in second position right now. Jeff, of course, formerly from Chemung, New York, now living in Pleasant Garden, North Carolina. And this is only his third late model Sportsman race of the year. Jeff earlier was third at Daytona and 24th at Rockingham. He won this event back in 1982, and that many people say was the race that led him into a solid ride in Grand National racing. Jeff Bodine from Pleasant Garden, North Carolina, car number 15, now second in the Dixie Cup 200. And there's Bouchard in third, still hanging in there. And as you heard his crew chief mention earlier, Ron Bouchard would like to run behind some cars because when he is out in front, the car has a pushing problem. He's now in third. Fourth, right behind Ron Bouchard, is Jack Ingram in number 11.
Well, if he likes to be behind cars, he ought to be loving it right now because he's third with the car right in front of the car right behind him.
This could come down to a last lap move by somebody in this area of the racetrack. Right now, it's just a situation where a lot of the drivers are settling down and just kind of taking it easy out there at over 150 miles an hour, if that's possible. Is there any place on this racetrack that you can relax, Benny?
Well, you can relax down the straightaways. You can just let go of the steering wheel a little bit, but you really don't relax. But it only lasts for 4 or 5 seconds, then you're back in the turn again.
And you can't relax at all mentally.
Oh, no. You have to be mentally alert every inch of the way. Look, Bodine really gets through 3 and 4. He's underneath him. I think that makes the contact.
It looks like they could very well have. Bodine very close to Sam Ard. They're in turn number 4, but no positions changed. Now Jack Ingram is challenging Ron Bouchard there for third place, but again, no change, and they continue to run in the same order.
You know, Sam Ard changed tires, put on 4 tires when he made his pit stop, and it's just very possible that they could have the stagger, the tire size could not be exactly what they're looking for because he doesn't seem to have the dominance that he had early on in the race. He's having trouble up in 3 and 4. Those cars just eat them up there.
Off of the turn once again. These are the first 4 positions here on the straightaway, running nose to tail, and the battle for 5th and 6th is also on the main straightaway. It involves the number 21 of Larry Pearson and the number 32 car driven by Dale Jarrett. Now his brother crashed earlier and is out of the race, but Dale Jarrett is doing very well running here in 6th place.
That's an interesting story, Bob. You know, both those drivers are the sons of Grand National champions. David Pearson is Larry's father. Ned Jarrett is the father of Dale Jarrett, both Grand National champions. And both these guys want to follow in their footsteps, and they're doing a pretty good job.
They sure are. Larry Pearson, this is his first race on this track, now running in 5th. Larry is from Spartanburg, South Carolina, driving the Chattanooga Chew Pontiac, and Dale Jarrett in the O'Connell Line Buick. And there is another Jarrett that...
this is Patty Jarrett. She is my PR person, and she's got her eyes on Dale Jarrett. She's not worried about any PR for Benny Parsons right now. She's worried about Dale Jarrett.
Dale running in 6th place in the Dixie Cup 200 at this point, right behind Larry Pearson in car number 21. Larry Pearson down the backstretch. He has been in all races so far this year in the late model sportsman competition. His best finish of 4th at Hickory. He was also 6th at Daytona and 9th at Richmond. Jeff Bodine has taken the lead from Sam Ard, so Jeff Bodine moves into the top position, and that makes our 21st lead change of the afternoon. Jeff Bodine leading with Sam Ard in 2nd, moving to the inside of Bodine, but I don't think he's going to be able to pass. No, he is not. Ron Bouchard is still running in 3rd place. Let's go down once again to Dick Bergeron in the pit area.
Talking about cars with small engines that are a little bit lighter. One of those cars is in the lead right now, Sam Ard's car. The second 2 on, whoops, he just lost the lead. Jeff Bodine has got a bigger engine. Ronnie Bouchard has a bigger engine. And then running in 4th place, Ingram has a smaller engine. Now the drivers say that the small motors, which are allowed only in the lighter cars, have something of an advantage off the 4th turn. They say that the big motors have something of an advantage off the 2nd turn because the cars have to slow down a little bit, and those small motors only produce their horsepower when they're really wound up tight. So it'll be interesting. On the first 4 cars, we've got 2 lightweights with small motors and 2 heavyweights with big motors.
Well, let's talk about this motor situation a little bit, Benny. There is talk in the garage area that next year there may be a limitation on engine size in Grand National cars back down to 311 in an effort to slow them down a little bit. Would you support such a move as Ard moves to the inside of Jeff Bodine, once again going into turn number 3, and Ron Bouchard also makes a move. Ard 2nd, Bouchard 2nd, and Jeff Bodine from 1st to 3rd in a matter of seconds. Back to the engine situation. Would you support that, Benny?
Well, I don't know that much about it because the only racing I've been doing is Grand National racing. But this 311 has been kind of a NASCAR has kind of used it as a, I don't really know what I'm trying to say.
Would you support a reduction of speed in Grand National racing?
Well, yeah, I think we do need to have a reduction in speed, but I don't agree. I agree with the smaller engines more so than I agree with the smaller carburetor. Because the smaller carburetor really doesn't, it slows the fast cars down and doesn't do anything to the slow cars. And that's really not right. You know, some guy that goes out and engineers and spends the money to go fast, he ought to be able to do that.
All right, Sam Ard, Ron Bouchard, and Jeff Bodine, the first 3 in the Dixie Cup 200. And we're at Darlington International Raceway in the track they call Too Tough to Tame. We'll be right back. We're back at Darlington International Raceway for the Dixie Cup 200 for late model sportsman cars. Here are the top 10. Sam Ard is the leader, Ron Bouchard 2nd, Jeff Bodine 3rd, Jack Ingram 4th, and Larry Pearson is 5th. 6th is Dale Jarrett, 7th, Bobby Allison, 8th was Tommy Ellis, 9th was Tommy Houston, and 10th, Kirk Bryant. 108 out of 147 laps have been completed. We have had 9 caution periods for a total of 41 laps. We are about to go back green. And the driver that we were watching move up quickly before this latest caution period was Bobby Allison, but there is the driver that everyone else is chasing at this point, Sam Ard, car number 00.
Bobby still has his work cut out for him because he's behind Larry Pearson, Dale Jarrett, some cars that want a good finish here, that want to show their dads they can race at Darlington. So they're going to have to give Bobby a hard time, and he has to get by them. He's got to get by Jack Ingram before he can get up to Jeff Bodine, Ron Bouchard, and Sam Ard.
Early in the race, Sam Ard led them down for a very slow restart. We'll see if he does the same thing here. Picks up the pace just a little bit coming off the 4th turn, although it's still a relatively slow start, but they are back under green. Ard, Bouchard, and Bodine, followed by Jack Ingram. Those 4 cars are pulling away from the others as they come out of turn number 2 and go down the backstretch. Ard, the defending late model Sportsman champion car, going very slowly here on the main straightaway. I don't know whether that's going to bring out a caution or not. We'll keep our eye on that situation. Everybody is still at speed up in turn number 4 now. There is a significant bump up there off of turn number 4. You can see it coming onto the straightaway.
There really is, and I tell you, you've got to be right when you hit that bump. Otherwise, you're going to be in a lot of trouble because it just gets you upset so you can't get on the straightaway right.
Down the backstretch once again. We continue to watch the first 4 positions. Sam Ard, number 00. Leading the way, but Bobby Allison is moving up in car number 22, the Miller Oldsmobile. We mentioned that he was looking strong before the caution period, and he has picked up the pace just as much here in this green period. Moving to the inside and passing Larry Pearson on the main straightaway, moving into turn number 1. So Bobby is moving up quickly.
He got by both those cars I thought would hold him up substantially, but he really didn't have too much trouble. He's got clear racetrack in front of him. The only problem is it's quite a ways up there.
Yeah, Bobby is in 5th place right now, and the distance between himself and 4th place Jack Ingram is considerable. Ingram now coming off of the 4th turn, and Bobby Allison is right now off of the 4th turn. So it's a few seconds. We'll get a clock and see how many seconds it is exactly the next time around. First 4 positions continuing to run nose to tail out there, moving high, passing a slower car off of turn number 2 and down the backstretch. We haven't seen too many jostling of positions here in the last few laps. Everybody seemed content to run in the position that they are in at the moment.
It's like waiting for the explosion, though, Bob. You know it's going to happen just any minute. That was a different line that Sam Ard took that time. I don't know what he was trying to do, but
Jack Ingram making a move in turn number 4, but unable to pick up position. In fact, he lost a little bit as he has fallen behind now Jeff Bodine just a bit. It's about a 4-second interval between the 3rd and 4th place car. Make that the 4th and 5th place cars of Jack Ingram and Bobby Allison. About 4 seconds difference.
Bodine is under Bouchard.
Bodine moves into 2nd place and now sets his sights on Sam Ard. It's been a strong race for Jeff Bodine. This driver, who is a former Rookie of the Year in the Grand National Division, has looked very, very strong here in the late model Sportsman competition today.
He has looked awfully strong. Sam Ard gets through 1 and 2, the 1st and 2nd turn, extremely well, but boy, is he having trouble up in 3 and 4. Bodine just eats him up there. Look, he just closes right up behind him.
Jeff's driving the Hendrick Honda Pontiac. He is 22nd in point standings. This is only his 3rd race of the year. Bodine right behind Sam Ard down the main straightaway into turn number 1 again.
Jeff does not look like he's getting through this turn nearly as well as Sam, but he's beating Sam. You know, and this racetrack, Bob, is a compromise situation. If you get through turn 3 and 4, that means you don't get through turns 1 and 2. Exactly right. You try to get through 3 and 4 as best you possibly can, and get through 1 and 2 as just wherever it lands. That's what you're going to do.
Slower cars moving to the inside, allowing the faster cars to pass on the outside. They were able to get by all but one of the slower cars and then had to get off the accelerator. Now they begin to, as they come off of turn number 2. They're passing the number 61 car driven by Glenn Sears of Apex, North Carolina.
That's my old buddy Glenn. He's finally got himself lapped. He's been running real good all day. Managed to stay in the same lap with the leaders, but with only 30 laps to go he's got himself lapped.
All right, down off the fourth turn once again. The situation is Sam Ard is the leader. Jeff Bodine second, Ron Bouchard is third, and Jack Ingram is running in fourth place. Then about 4 seconds behind Jack Ingram is the fifth place car driven by Bobby Allison. And I'll tell you, Bobby doesn't seem to be closing in as much as he was a few laps ago.
No. What's going to really make the determining factor is how he catches traffic. He's going to have to be lucky. He's got to let the leaders catch the traffic, going in turn 3, coming off turn 4, going in turn 1, and him catch him on the straightaway. If he can do that, he'll catch him with no problem. If it's reversed, if he catches him going in those corners, they'll drive away from him.
Here he is, Bobby Allison in fifth place, passing the number 63 car driven by Jeff Hensley from Ridgeway, Virginia. Let's go down to Dick Bergman, who is with the crew chief on this car, Gary Nelson.
Gary, can you make up the distance, or do you need a yellow flag in order to get up front?
Well, with that group of cars running in a draft, they're a little quicker than we are. We're holding our own, and when they get in traffic, we seem to be able to gain a little bit. We're 3.5 seconds behind them, and when they pass traffic, if it slows them down a little, we gain a little bit. But then we catch that same traffic, and it all depends on how Bobby gets around them. It would be nice to have a yellow so we could close it up and know that we could race them, though.
Do you need someone to draft with, or can you run by yourself?
Well, that's what's making them a little quicker, because they're running together with that draft. And as long as there's those 3 or 4 cars in that group, it's hard for us to make up any ground on them. So it all depends on traffic, and if traffic's not a factor, then we really do need a yellow.
Fingers are crossed in Bobby Allison's pit crew. They'd like to see a yellow, but if not, they're going to try it another way.
Well, Dick, there was some exciting action coming off of the fourth turn as Jeff Bodine picked up the lead again, moved to the inside and tried to block the progress of one of the drivers behind him. They were all over that racetrack up in turn number 4, but everything worked well, and Jeff Bodine bumps the wall in turn 4, only loses 1 position. Oh, a magnificent job of driving by Jeff Bodine, who got up a little high and scraped the wall, but held on, gathered it in, and only dropped back to second.
So we were talking before the telecast, and I said, you can go in turn 3 1,000 times, but yet the 1,001st time, it just ain't right.
And here is 1,001st time for Bodine.
He just gets it a little too hard. Up, just touches the wall, saves it, almost hits Sam Ard, and back to racing.
Great job of driving by Jeff Bodine.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch,
he's still hanging in there in second place, and Bouchard is chasing him. Ingram is chasing Bouchard. Now Bouchard goes to the inside of the racetrack. Can't find the racetrack to pass in, though, and these guys continue to run in the same order. Well, we've heard about the Darlington stripe and how you once in a while whoop the wall coming out of the fourth turn, but that was a little ridiculous there on Bodine's part.
Now he's going to dive under Sam Ard. No, Sam comes down the hill, blocks him off. Sam's used to that trick now. They've done it on him enough.
As you saw, his Bodine's best finish of the year, a third in the Daytona 300. By the way, we've been talking throughout the broadcast about the popularity of this division and the fact that it is much popular now than it was 3 or 4 years ago, for one thing because of the purses. As a matter of fact, this is the 3rd largest spectator attendance as far as divisions in the United States. Of course, the largest drawing type of racing is Grand National racing, followed by kart racing, Indy cars, and this is the 3rd highest drawing spectator type of racing in the United States. These cars compete mostly in the southeastern portion of the United States. However, later this year, they're going to compete on the mile at Milwaukee State Fair Park that we have telecast several races from. They also compete as far north as Indianapolis, Indiana, at Indianapolis Raceway Park on the 5/8 mile oval there. 25 laps to go and 11 cars on the lead lap. Looks like Sam might have backed down to the accelerator just for a moment, and Bodine, Bouchard, and Ingram kind of sneaked up, but no change of positions. Well, we know because of comments that we heard that Bobby Allison would prefer to be behind some drivers on the last lap, and Ron Bouchard's team has also indicated to us that he would rather be in second or third position. You think that's a good idea? Would you be in second or third instead of the lead late in the race?
I'd rather be right where Sam Ard is, Bob. I'd like to be leading this race because going in turn 3, he can move low on the racetrack, and take that low groove away from those guys, and I don't think they can beat him back to start-finish line. I really don't.
We shall see in about 25 more laps. Once again, back markers being passed in turn number 2. Here they come down the backstretch in single file. Sam Ard is the leader. Bodine second. Third is Ron Bouchard, and fourth is Jack Ingram, running in 5th place. Still about 3.5 seconds behind 4th place is Bobby Allison in 5th. Well, 36 cars started this race, and we still have a number of cars out on the racetrack. We have had some accidents, but none serious, and we have a crash in turn number 4. The number 09 car, driven by Francis Affleck from Charlotte, North Carolina, has come in contact with the fence in turn 3.
Well, that's what Bobby Allison's been waiting for. There's the car's going to run into him head on.
Oh! Number 14, the car involved, Ronnie Silver. And he just simply couldn't get out of the accelerator fast enough and get to the inside of the track, and he made heavy contact with the number 09 car of Affleck. There is the damage to it, and the other car is down to the inside of the racetrack.
You know, that poor guy had to sit there and watch that car come right at him.
All you can do is hold on. He's moving around in there. I don't think he's injured. We'll check on the situation involving Silver. As a matter of fact, Affleck is pulling away. Here is Affleck's initial contact with the fence.
He does a good job keeping in the wall. He really does, because you don't want to come across the racetrack in front of traffic. He does a great job, and that's exactly what he should do. Now, I'm just going to speculate that he lost an engine is what caused this problem. And Ronnie Silver goes in and gets in the oil and can't control the car. And boom. And he hit him hard.
He did. He tore the right side of that car pretty much away. Silver did, number 14. You can see the whole side of it has been ripped away. Luckily, it was not the driver's side. So the caution flag comes out, and there is Silver getting out of the race car, and that's a very good sign. Silver looks like he's shaken up a little bit, but not seriously injured. May take a ride to the infield hospital and be checked over. So both drivers are okay, it looks like, and that is going to allow, among other things, Bobby Allison to get rid of that 3.5 second advantage that 4th place Jack Ingram had over him, and Bobby Allison now moves into a very good position.
You know, if the race wasn't exciting enough, it's going to get better, because we got another car up there now, Bob.
Well, while we are cautioned and while the debris is taken away from the area of the accident up in turn number 3, ESPN presents an STP pit stop.
I'm Larry Newber, and this is another STP pit stop. You know, regular maintenance on your car at home can not only be safe, but also save you a lot of money. Now, Richard, there are a lot of things that you can do, whether or not you're a guy or a gal who owns your own car.
Well, there's a lot of different things you can do, you know, as far as checking your tires, checking the air in the tires, making sure they got good tread on them. You know, you go around and make sure that your oil's been checked. You know, say like every time you get gas, you don't really have to check it, but every once in a while you need to check the gas. Brake fluids need to be checked. You know, the water in the windshield wiper is very important. You never think about it till it rains, but every time you do, it's always empty. So this is something that's really, from a safety standpoint, needs to be done. You know, all the fluids in the car need to be checked from time to time. Keep a clean car, that means you take care of it. Every once in a while you need to take it in for a tune-up, because you get better gas mileage. It helps the smog control situation. Overall, if you take good care of your car, then in the long run, when you get ready to trade it, or just as you take care of it, then it's going to pay off all the way around.
You know, there's one other little item a lot of people overlook. Actually washing the car is a part of important maintenance, isn't it?
Well, very much so. I think when a man washes his car, or a lady washes a car, they have a little pride in it, and that means they're going to check some of this stuff that they don't normally check. Most time you run, jump in the car, you go to the service station, or you go to the school or whatever, and you forget about it. But when you're washing your car, that means you took time to be proud of your car. You're taking care of it. Then you'll check those fluids and check the tires and make sure that, you know, everything's hanging where it's supposed to be.
Richard, thank you very much. We will be back throughout the summer with more STP pit stops and tips on driving from the king of stock car racing, Richard Petty.
The debris and the cleanup continues over in turn number 3, where we had a collision between two cars. Both drivers okay, but we are under caution for the 10th time in this race while the track is cleared. We are on lap number 129 out of 147. We're setting up for an exciting finish of this race. We'll be back with the green flag right after. With us.
Sam Ard is in the pits right now. He has a soft left front tire. Had to pit, fortunately, under the caution. If this was under the green, it would have been all over. But this is going to cost him and cost him dearly. When the green flag comes out, Sam Ard is going to be running dead last, and he is going to have to run all the way up toward the front to try to catch these leaders, and there is not much time left in this race. That stop is not a fast one, but that doesn't really matter as long as it's under the caution. They've changed both left side tires, given them a little bit of fuel, just taking a look at things. Still taking a look at things. They do have time. They do have some time. They've looked all over the car, and now Sam Ard takes off. He's got his work cut out for him here.
He sure does. He is well back in the field now as we are about to go green in half a lap with 12 laps to go, and this is going to be some kind of a finish if things continue to go the way they have throughout the first 134 laps. The situation is that Jeff Bodine in car number 15 is the leader. Ron Bouchard in 47 is second, Jack Ingram third in number 11, and Bobby Allison fourth in 22. After that, it's Larry Pearson, and then we've a couple of more drivers before we get back to Sam Ard. So he is in a world of hurt here with just a few laps to go. The question is, can he sneak back up through the traffic and get into a competitive position again?
I don't think so, Bob, unless there's a caution flag. I think Sam's in a lot of trouble. As strong as his car is, I just don't see how he can possibly pass all those cars to get up to the lead.
All right, this will complete lap number 135, so we've got 12 laps to go in the Dixie Cup 200. The green flag is out, and here we go for the shootout to determine the winner.
First four cars all got green racetrack, clean racetrack in front of them.
I'll tell you, the guy that we're going to have to watch is Bobby Allison, who right now is fourth. Here are the first two, Jeff Bodine and Ron Bouchard. Now, these guys have run strong all day. Jeff Bodine, the leader at number 15.
Jack Ingram brushed his wall. He puts a dog strap on his car up in turn 4.
Okay, that's Ingram to the inside there, coming off the fourth turn right there. And Bobby Allison is racing side by side with him for third position as we watch the first two go into the first and second turns. Bodine followed by Bouchard. On the backstretch, Bobby Allison is now third. Fourth is Jack Ingram. And Bouchard looks to the inside going into turn 3, but can't pass. He may be setting up Jeff Bodine for a pass coming out of turn number 4 onto the straightaway. Let's see what happens. Bouchard right behind Jeff Bodine, looking inside again, but Bodine slams the door. Bouchard is way down on the apron. Oh. He gathered it in and held on.
This will take your breath.
Oh, this is great racing. It's been this way all race long. We've had 19, make that 25 lead changes in this 147-lap race. Now Bouchard again to the inside, trying to get the advantage. Bodine, though, moves inside.
He runs him on the apron.
He's blocking him very obviously. These guys, both of them from the New England and upstate New York area, and they're going at it as if they are bitter enemies out there, trying to pull off the win here at Darlington. We have trouble up in turn number 2. That's Larry Pearson, who we had talked about as running so strong here today. Pearson scrapes against the wall, and Ron Bouchard moves into lead as Jeff Bodine is forced high in turn number 3. Ron Bouchard has pulled away from Jeff Bodine after passing him and put about 10 car lengths between himself and Bodine. And we have a car spinning in turn 4. That's number 12, Tommy Ellis. So action at both ends of the racetrack as Pearson scrapes the wall in turns 1 and 2, and Tommy Ellis scrapes the wall and spins in turns 3 and 4.
And no caution flag. The
green stays out, and the racing continues. Bobby Allison has moved into second place, passing Jeff Bodine. There is Bouchard. There is Bobby Allison and Jeff Bodine, second and third. Bodine was leading just 2 laps ago. He now moves to the inside at the start-finish line, trying to move back into second. He does so, passing Bobby Allison. But he has got a lot of racetrack to make up between himself and the leader, Ron Bouchard.
That's the greatest thing that can happen for Ron Bouchard is for Jeff Bodine and Bobby Allison to start racing each other. That'll just let him pull away.
And that he is doing in turn number 4 now. Ron Bouchard, the leader. Second and third, Bodine and Bobby Allison. They're come off of the 4th turn. Bouchard moving to the inside. A slower car is in the way of the 2nd and 3rd place competitors. They pass that slower car, though, easily as they move into turn number 1. And it looks like that Bodine and Allison are sneaking up and closing in on the leader, Ron Bouchard. They're battling for second position down the backstretch. Allison now inside at the end of the backstretch, but Jeff Bodine holds on to second position.
Those 2 cars running together are faster than Ron Bouchard. In the draft, they're faster. If he can just get them to racing each other, he'll be all set.
Good position, and look at how much they have closed in the gap. Into turn number 1, Allison to the inside, but he sees no racetrack or no place to go, and so falls back into third. We have only 5 laps to go. Bouchard, Bodine, and Bobby Allison on the racetrack, first, second, and third. Now Bouchard again opens up the distance just a little bit as Bodine and Allison battle for that second spot. They're in turn number 4, off of the high banks, down onto the main straightaway. Ron Bouchard moving very low on the racetrack at the start-finish line, then moving high to set up his car going into turn number 1.
When he moves down, Bob, he's trying to get out of the so the cars can't catch any air off his car, those cars behind him. He'd want to draft any off his car, but they're close enough right now that it doesn't really matter. They're right behind him.
They sure are. Bodine has moved in right behind Ron Bouchard now, as Bouchard will begin to encounter some slower traffic in the next lap. Here he is off of turn number 4. Bodine is right on Bouchard's back bumper now, and Allison is on Bodine's back bumper. They pass a slower car going into turn number 1. Bobby Allison lost a little bit of distance there as he tried to pass that slower car and lost a couple of car lengths.
He caught the car at exactly the wrong place going in the corner, just like Bouchard caught that slow car. Going in the corner, now Bobby gains back up on him again.
Here they come off of turn number 4. It is Ron Bouchard leading with Jeff Bodine second and Bobby Allison third. Here they come with 2 laps to go, 2 laps around the 1.63-mile Darlington International Raceway. ESPN's first visit to this historic racing facility, and we have seen nothing but exciting racing action this afternoon, all during this 200-mile, 147-lap race. Again, at the end of the backstretch in turn 3, it is still Ron Bouchard leading. One of these 3 cars is going to win the race, but at this point, no one can tell which one. The white flag comes out. 1 more lap to go. Bouchard, Bodine, and Allison going at it for the win in the Dixie Cup 200 for NASCAR late model Sportsman drivers. Out of turn number 2 and down the backstretch, they continue to run in the same order. If a move is going to be made, it's going to have to be done soon. Bodine decides that he might go outside, but can't see any racetrack. Cannot make the pass. Here they come in turns 3 and 4. Jeff Bodine cannot find an opportunity. He's blocked by Ron Bouchard off of turn number 4. Here they come, and it's going to be Ron Bouchard winning as Jeff Bodine dug to the inside at the start-finish line and wound up just about the length of the car behind Ron Bouchard and Bobby Allison, who I think got off the accelerator coming off of the 4th turn, realizing that he couldn't pass both cars. Allison finishes in 3rd spot. Ron Bouchard has won the Dixie Cup 200 at Darlington International Raceway in a fantastic race here this afternoon. Let's take a look at the final lap of the race. Here they are crossing the start-finish line, and that is the interval between first and second position. So we will be back with an interview with Ron Bouchard, who has won this race from the pole position. Dick Berggren will be talking with him in just a moment. A well-deserved victory from the guy from Pittsburgh, Massachusetts, Ron Bouchard. In victory lane, here is Dick Bergeron.
And it's a very happy Ronnie Bouchard getting his wife Paula a peck on the nose. There's a lot of jubilation here. Fella, you had a rear-view mirror full of race cars when that thing ended, didn't you?
We really did. The car runs super all day. You know, we were in the right place at the right time, and when Sammy got a flat tire, that really helped a bunch, because he was real quick. But, you know, we got by Jeff, and I run away there a little bit, and then the two of them hooked up together, and they started to run me down, and I says, boy, get this thing over with.
You've played with Jeff Bodine in your rearview mirror before, though, and you've had him in front of you before, haven't you?
We sure have. We've run a bunch of races back home, and modified races, and just thank God this one come out right.
Was he blocking you toward the end of the race, or is that legal in what we're doing here?
Well, I guess it is legal. When I tried to pass him with about 10 to go, he blocked me, so I figured I'd just return the favor.
Very happy Ronnie Bouchard here in Victory Lane, hugging a bottle of champagne. His car owners, his crew, they're all behind him. This is a very, very happy moment. They certainly needed this win.
And our congratulations to Ron Bouchard, and our thanks to Dick Bergeron for his coverage of the pit area, and to Benny Parsons, who had the color commentary for us this afternoon from the booth. The Dixie Cup 200 has been brought to you by Honda Motorcycles. Honda, follow the leader. And by TR3 Auto Polish. You want tough? TR3 is tough. Take it from Mr. T. And by Skull Bandits for tobacco pleasure without lighting up. It's a pouch instead of a puff. As we look at the top 10, this is Bob Jenkins saying thanks for joining us. And again, congratulations to Ron Bouchard, winner of the Dixie Cup 200 from Darlington International Raceway. So long, everyone.